Oof, it is cold in the pictures on my Mind Studios today. Oh, wearing a scarf and everything. So look, as you might probably be well aware, I make a lot of zines and photo books. It's something that I wish I'd known how to do when I was younger, but it wasn't so much the laying out in InDesign that was tricky, although that did take a bit of sort of self-tuition. It was finding places to print. And what really slowed me down was finding somewhere to print offset. That's print lithographically. That's like the highest quality photo book printing you can do. And that's, you know what, maybe just, can I just remove that for now? That's basically how I've printed all these books. So this is a series of books that I've done across a lot of my archive of work that I'm really proud of. And yeah, it just took a really long time because I couldn't get anyone to believe in me or the work. But here's a little trick. Like, you know what? Sometimes maybe just believing in yourself is enough. But yeah, so bit of a pause on doing these at the moment because, I've crowdfunded one every year for the past 3 years. And I've got lots of other stuff I want to do, like trying to make a documentary film. But that doesn't mean I'm not putting out stuff. So today I'm going to quickly show you where I'm at with a new zine. So again, this is work I shot in 2011 when I was covering the Occupy London movement. And there was a whole bunch, I don't know if you can see it here, let me zoom in a bit. This little kid here. So loads of people obviously descended on London for the Occupy movement, much like they did in Wall Street. And it was trying to make a point about, how, 1% of the population have the majority of the wealth on our planet. And there's the whole slogan, we are the 99%. And there was lots of cool little slogans that we remember, like people remember now what the 1% are, what the 99% are. One of my personal favorites, which I put on the back of my sold out Occupy London book, was my first self-published book, which is You Can't Evict an Idea. You can't evict an idea. And I think that sounds really cool. But anyway, so the zine. So I'm using InDesign. I've got my dimensions here. I think I make most of my zines 190 by 230. And there, let me just yo you out of this again. It's planned, guys. It's all planned. That was the first one I did, and this actually kickstarted my sort of trying to help other people make zines. There's like literally, I think now maybe 30 videos, a step-by-step guide of how I made this zine, as well as making my hardback books. I also put out an Extinction Rebellion zine, and somewhere is my latest one, which was, yeah, Olympics Incorporated. And the idea, if you're not noticing, is that it's basically a series, hence all the numbers in the corner, and also why all the design is uniform. Okay. Yeah, so I've basically got my template. It's let me throw this in here, add to stage. It's 190 by 230. You can see that by what's going on here. You can see that by the lines here. So 190 by 230. This is my front cover. When you make a hardback book in InDesign, it's different. You'll need a separate document for the cover because you'll have to include the width of the spine. Whereas making a zine, man, this is it. So on the front, now I know it looks weird because I've got this big white bar. I shot pretty much 99% of the Occupy London movement at night with a camera in one hand and my flash in another. And just for the sake of design, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this JPEG drag up the black just so that fits. But I love this schoolboy with the anonymous mask. He's like proto Harry Potter, the way the hair's flicking over. It's very cool. And yeah, so into the zine. So this was on the first day of Occupy, and I was shooting the very first day, and I clocked some of these guys in anonymous masks, and I just liked it with the pillars. It looked very kind of ancient Rome, and the mask itself sort of very totemic. Obviously, the mask is very much to do with Alan Moore and V for Vendetta. And like this one's tripped me out recently. I don't think this was in my book, but I don't know if you can see what's going on here. This guy arrived, literally, I think, is he dressed like the police? Yeah, he's got a badge there saying like Metropolitan, is it Peace? But he's in this flak jacket, he's got all this gear on with the anonymous mask. In the background, these boyos playing football being photographed. But look, nothing spreads like fear, Contagion. It's that lovely film we all watched during the pandemic where we all watched it and were like, this sounds familiar. Anyway, but as at present, they're the only two shots in the daytime. I'm not sure whether I'm going to keep them in or not. I might get rid of them. As much as I love these photos, every other photo in the book is at night. So this is around the camp at St. Paul's. I like this one, these girls laughing. They're just having a great chuckle. And she like, I think she did say she had Harry Potter glasses on. That's funny. I mentioned Harry Potter at the start, wasn't it? Anyway, she's got a Harry Potter glass. She's got her anonymous thing. They're having some nice veg. That looks pretty good. They're doing well. Anyway, this guy hugging this woman's kind of funny because I don't know what's going on here. What's the story? There's older lady getting hugged by the anonymous dude. And yeah, in we go. So what I've done is I've kept the layout the same. If I just press W, I'll bring up my grid lines. And you see generally what I'm doing in most of my zines is I'm giving a little border because you have to watch out for what's called the gutter. Sometimes you can lose images in the gutter. So I'm just doing that. Yes, you can go full bleed to the edge, but for now I'm just, giving each image some space. With these two, if I hit W again, now you can see I've gone up to the bleed. So that is essentially the trim line, what I'm showing you here with my mouse. So in InDesign, you go up to this orange line, which I've set, which I can't remember off the top of my head. Is it 3 mil? Let's look. 1, 2, 3. Is that it? 1, 2. Is it 2 mil? I'm not sure. But anyway, it's a trim line so that when you do want it to go full bleed, you're not going to trim it and have an edge of white. A common mistake is basically dragging the image down right to the edge. You see what I'm doing here? So if I put that right there, oh, no. Anyway, when they trim it, you could end up with a bit of a white line, and that's no good. Let's put it back where it should go. So yeah, and again, in design, like layout tips, you generally, rule of thumb, don't want to have too many different layouts. So at the moment, I've got this kind of full bleed with the edge here, and that means I haven't really distorted the ratio of this image too much. I have slid it over a bit. I thought this wasn't as interesting. And also, you got to watch out with the gutter. And the reason I slid it over, you can see, look, if I put it back, look at that. So that's the gutter of the zine, and you probably might lose some of that, the mask on the face. And let's face it, that's the main focal point of the photo, so that's why I've laid it out like here. Again, this one on its own, kind of a wacky image. And this was actually the start. So what I've planned on doing at some point here, I haven't done this in any zines yet. I haven't actually put text in the zine. I'm going to put some text here, and it's called, is it The Night of 1,000 Masks? And basically what the anonymous people in the UK used to do was march on Westminster, the Houses of Parliament, like they do. I think, do they do it in the comic? I've got the graphic novel somewhere. I can't remember off the top of my head. They definitely do it in the film. Maybe they do it in the graphic novel. Anyway, I'll find out. I'll flash it up. But it's pretty cool. So what happens is all these people in anonymous masks, and that's actually cool because they actually had a flag. That's actually, I don't know if you remember, that's like the anonymous flag. You don't really see that much anymore. It's kind of cool logo, isn't it? The question mark over the mask, but it's kind of cool. There we go. There's a sign there. What's that say here? We are the 99%, take the wealth off the 1%. And that's very much a slogan you hear now. Look at these old ears here hanging out. Photographer Anonymous UK hoodie. I wonder if anyone's got any of those. I like the way some people had the knockoff masks from China. It's the official masks and the knockoff masks, and people would kind of like personalize their masks as well. I mean, obviously Alan Moore, who invented V for Vendetta, the comic book graphic novel, he loved it. He was tripped out. This whole idea that suddenly like his creations were like marching on Westminster, and that's what these photos are. So here's some guy with the anonymous flag marching past the Savoy. There's this funny lady here, and the policeman's like, "What's going on?" And they're all marching on it. This one's a fun one of the family, isn't it? Kind of wacky. But yeah, design-wise, you see, if I put up my grid lines with W, yeah, you can see it's pretty much. Although, look, there's a problem. I've just spotted that. Good thing I was doing that. So that frame is bigger than the photo, and although that's fitting, it's... Oh, I know why I've done this. I know why. They're different aspect ratios. I've cropped them differently, but yeah, that's still wrong. So if I go to here, yeah, I've slid that down. So what do I need to do to fix it? So let's just try an auto. So I'm going to go Alt, Shift, Command, and E. See what it does. Oh, didn't do anything. Okay, so let's go fitting, fit frame to content. That's good. So I'm going to get these blue lines. I mean, it's a bit off. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drag my grid line down to here. Drag that grid line down to there. Did I get it? Am I getting it? All right, let's take from the top again. This is always fun, isn't it? There we go. So snatch that line down. I'm going to line it up to the top. I'm going to drag this over here. Now what I'm going to do is there's going to be a white border. If I double click the image, now I've got brown dots to grab, and I'm going to hold shift so it doesn't distort and drag it up. There we go. And now that hand, I can move it down. So I'm going to drag down some of that space there. And if I hit W, there we go. So yeah, just a little thing. I managed to miss that, didn't I? But look, going through it again with you guys, I've clocked that, and that lines up quite nicely. I'll grab another little grid line down here. Boff, boff. Also, terminology-wise, right? I don't know. I might be getting the terminology wrong. You know what I mean? I think for 10 years, I called 120 120 mil. Obviously, it's not 120 mil, and you get Herbert's being like, it's not 120 mil. By the time someone pulled me up on it, I'd had work in Nat Geo. I'd published books of medium format photography with like supposedly professional, serious publishers. So yeah, don't get too caught up on sounds people make with their mouths, even when it comes to photography. When we got to where was it, Trafalgar Square, there was a band for the tourists, and all the anonymous people started dancing, and it got really weird. It was like being in a Chris Cunningham video. Yeah, it was like being in a Chris Cunningham video. What the hell was going on? I thought that at the time, and now looking back at it, I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's exactly what it was like. It is. It's like a Chris Cunningham video. Why is that? That's being really slow to load. One thing is, for quality, you can go view up here and overprint view and kind of get a better idea. Sometimes if it's pixelated, you can do that, but it does take a lot more of the CPU power and it might make it slower. But yeah, again, like a Chris Cunningham video, right? Pretty cool. Shane didn't have Chris Cunningham mask. It's one of my favorite shots, actually. I forgot I had this one. And yeah, it's just like she's taken a mask off. She's taken a mask off, but she's got face paint under the mask. The little kid here, wild. And this whole weird set where these dudes started snogging. He's got like a Russian hat on and he's snogging this dude with the masks, and then they're carrying each other off and they're doing some weird handshake, and yeah, pretty wild. Then lined up here at Nelson's column, I believe. Yeah. All the anonymous at Nelson's column. And here we go, gathering up to march on the Houses of Parliament, which they did. This couple here hand in hand, and off they went. And there you go. That's how it looks so far. Now, I haven't written the text yet. This is the text from the previous scene. I've just left there as placeholder text. I've got to work out what I'm going to write. But yeah, I'll just write a little bit about how it felt, what was going on. I mean, the bulk of this was all shot in one night. And this is one thing I've been trying to get at. Let me just get rid of this now. Everyone wants to do a photo book. A photo book, it's quite kind of a big deal, and maybe there just isn't the project for a photo book, and that's okay. But just make a zine. Just make a zine. I think at the moment I print with Mixam. To make 50 copies of the zine will be about £120. And because it's digital printing, like the economies of scale, as in printing lots to get it cheaper, doesn't really work that well anyway, unlike offset printing where it does. So maybe you print 25 copies. That's probably like, I don't know, maybe it'll be like 60, 70 quid for 25 copies. And these are big ones, man. Like, look, don't get me wrong. Like, if I hold this up, that's a big size. That is not, look, let me get a little one. Look, here we go. So that's Cafe Royal Books, right? You might have heard of them. That's my techno bad boy. Look at that. You see? It's a fair bit bigger. So when you hit something like a double page spread, you know, let's go for it. Have I got any full bleeds in this one? Probably not. I think I've got one in my Extinction Rebellion. Let's try this guy. Really, let's go all the way there. Wow, that's pretty close. Here, so look, check this out. So that's still got the little border to maintain the aspect ratio. Oh, I did it again. It's all happening, guys. This is live. We do it live. So yeah, you know, there's that, and there's that, and it's just, you know, it's so much bigger. So, you know, you could just print a small zine like Cafe Royal Books, and I think, you know, I can't remember off the top of my head what size that is, but that's A4, isn't it? Is it A4? Yeah, that's A4. A5? A5? Am I getting this right? Answers on a postcard. You think I should know all this stuff, right? But, you know, I've printed all my zines custom at the moment just because I like this kind of size. So there we go. So that's it, chaps and chapettes. Hopefully that's helpful. If you like the idea of making a zine, there's a whole list of videos on my channel. I'll put a link somewhere there or there. Maybe it's there. Maybe it's down there. But yeah, hopefully that's helpful.